what does making money but staying broke actually look like? And
Okay.
what's the language for that? Because
Mm,
I think there's something a lot of people experience, but they don't have a language for it. They don't know the difference between I'm generating revenue, but I'm not actually generating enough profit for me to be able to sustain myself and be
mm.
able to explain it to someone like you so that you can actually help them.
Yeah. Okay. So what I see is typically people can generate revenue. They can
Mm,
generate income, right? But is the income they're generating enough for them to operate their business,
mhm.
pay themselves, pay taxes, and retain profit?
Yes.
There's a
Yes.
difference
Yes.
because if your pricing is not up to par for the market you want to be in,
Mhm.
then all the other things feel very, very heavy, very, very tight. And you can't even see that how can I bring on an assistant or a salesperson or somebody to help me deliver this service when it's nothing there, but I'm making money, right? I am bringing in income, but you don't understand what the cost is. You don't understand what it's costing you to bring in that amount of money. Because what is costing you to bring in that amount of money is not going to sustain you when you begin to scale because you're going to have to add people to your team who also have an expertise,
Mhm.
right? There's a difference. That's why it feels like I don't have any money. I'm still broke, but I make money. So then we begin to pull back the layers. What are you selling? What are the
Yes.
profit margins? What does
Yes.
it cost you to bring in that dollar of income? What does it cost you? Now, if it's, 30, let's just say it's $100.
Mhm.
It costs you $30 to bring that $100 in, right? So you got $70 left. Then what you do with that $70? You got to operate your business, put some
Yeah.
away for taxes, pay
Yeah.
yourself, and leave some for profit. Is $100 enough now?
Context.
Right. Is $100,000 enough?
Sometimes no.
No, I say it's not. Not to run a business.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no,
No.
no.
Because how are you going to get expertise on your team if you're making top line $100,000? Can't. You can't hire people for $10. I mean, you can, but you gotta also look at the quality of what you're hiring. Is it gonna take more we could go down a whole rabbit hole right here.
You see, I started laughing as soon as you said that because I'm thinking about, I get those DMs where it's like, oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah, no, no, no. That
yeah,
is definitely a rabbit hole yeah, that is a whole different
it
conversation.
it is. So,
Yeah.
the first thing that I like to help people
Mhm.
identify is their pricing.
Yes.
Like, their pricing and their service lines, right? Or their sales lines. Which one of these sales lines are not hitting the mark? You are actually losing money by selling $1 of this. This is what we like to look at first. And then we can narrow it down to the service line that is most profitable to
Yes.
your business, right? That means it costs you, maybe it only costs you $15
Mhm.
instead of $30,
Mhm.
right? To get that one $100 sale.
Yeah.
Now we have more margin. We have more margin to
Speak on it.
operate our business, to pay ourselves, to set aside money for taxes, and to set aside profit for later, right? So we work on margin first.
Mhm.
And then we go through efficiencies in the operations of the business.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So then we begin to look at your efficiencies. Like, what are you spending money on? I know somebody told you that this was a tax deduction.
Mm.
So you gonna tax deduction yourself to net profit of 0 or negative, and then as the owner, when you wanna go out and buy a car, buy a house, your business not generating any income, so why should I give you any money?
Yes.
Why should I give you money when your business is not generating income and this is your whole source of personal income?
Yeah.
Where's it coming from? Because you done took somebody's advice and they said, "Oh, you can deduct this and you can." Yes, you can. But if you're not looking at your long-term plan on
Mm.
what you're trying to do in your life, and you're going to need to go out and get a new mortgage, get a new car, line of credit. If your business isn't generating net income profit, who's going to allow you to borrow money against it?
Those tough conversations.
Those
Yes.
tough conversations. So this is
Yeah.
what I like to tell people. Let's tighten everything up, generate
Mm.
a lot of net income, and then we get a tax strategy. Then we get tax strategy. Now I need to reduce my taxes. So what am I going to do to reduce my taxes, but yet have enough to prove that my business is profitable,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
But if I don't know any information about what you're trying to do in your personal life, I can't help you design your business so that it can do just that.
Complimented, yes.
Because it's one and the same. When you're the leader of the business and you also have a personal life, and your personal life relies on this income from this business,
Mhm.
like we need to do it together.
Yes.
At least I need to know what your plan is. I don't need to know all the details. But if you're trying to send kids to college
Mhm.
or you're trying to really beef up your retirement, your business can help you get to retirement.
Yes.
We can, and it's a deduction within the business. But
Yeah.
if I don't know that, how am I going to help you? And that is not a bookkeeper's job, but that is what
No.
we do. Mm.
You see, I keep pausing because I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I need to let that breathe. I gotta there's just so much in what you're talking about. I have follow-up questions, but I just wanna unpack some of what you just
Okay.
said because I can't tell you how many people I speak to, and it's, "What's your business model?"
Mm.
Like,
Mhm.
what's your plan? Like, when you're putting together your pricing, like, we're talking about the foundational elements. You have to
Mhm.
figure out who your audience is. Once
Mhm.
you have those conversations with your audience, the audience will actually tell you how much they're willing to pay for the thing
Yes.
that it is that you're offering. But then the next step in that is, well, does this align with what my business model is?
Mhm.
Does it align with my life?
Mhm.
Because if it doesn't align with my business model and it doesn't align with my life, then you may be selling the wrong thing.
Yes.
Uh, then there's what you said where it's like efficiency. Like I'm
Mhm.
just gonna skip over because I can't touch what you touched, but I can tell you what I heard in it. Then there's the efficiencies. Sometimes you're spending money. Like for me, the main thing that I see a lot of times is there are earlier stage businesses that are talking about they're doing paid advertising.
Mm.
And it just burns me to no end because if you don't know who your audience is,
Mhm.
then you're renting an ability to be able to have a conversation with somebody that you don't even know if that's the person you want to have a conversation with.
Mhm. Yeah.
So efficiency is looking at being able to stop the bleeding on spending that you don't need to really be spending, and you have to be able to evaluate it. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to someone. I said, "Okay, well, tell me what's your most profitable service or product?"
Mhm.
And then we unpack it, and I say, "Well, no, that's actually not.
Yeah.
That's the one that's costing you more money." And that goes back to passion versus purpose. You're
Mhm.
very passionate about it, and that's the one that you enjoy selling and all the
Mhm.
rest of that. But the one that actually makes you the most money and not revenue but profit
Mhm.
is this one. So we
Mhm.
need to lean further into this one in order to be able to facilitate your ability to work on the one that you want to be
Yeah.
able to work on. And that's where stopping the bleeding. Sometimes you don't need to generate more customers. You need to stop
Yeah.
spending some of the money that you're spending on things that aren't going anywhere. Uh,
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly it. You need to stop spending money on the things that are not getting you the ROI that you're looking for,
Yeah.
return on investment. Because that's what
Yeah.
it is when you spend money in a business. It's a
Mm,
return on investment, whether it's people, whether it's software, whether it's things in the business, like
yeah.
physical things.
Yeah.
Like they all should be giving you some type of return. It's a return of your time, or return of your money?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll speak for myself. I know because I could see far down the road, and this is part of that corporate transition. I knew all the things that I wanted to be able to do, and I'm going into year 8, and I'm
Mhm.
just getting into some of the things that I was setting
Yeah.
up in year 1.
Mhm.
So the level of money that I was spending on AppSumo and all of these things, making future purchases and buying domains and doing all of these things because I said, well, this is going to be a segment of this, and then I can do this, and then I can do that. You have to be able to get the first thing set
Yeah.
and prove that you can get that first thing set before you can truly start to spend or rather invest in some of those other things because you can make that investment, but then that investment turns into an expense. And if you
Mhm.
can't justify that expense, then it's some of those things that you should probably let go. And this is
Yeah.
where having a conversation with someone like you is going to make a difference because it's what you said. Sometimes you will find someone that is a bookkeeper and
Mhm.
they will tell you, here's what you have, here's what you're spending, and they don't go beyond that step to be
Mhm.
able to say, but why are you doing it?
Exactly.
And that extra context makes
Exactly.
all the difference in the world.
Yes.
I think this is the difference between finding someone that's just willing to do the job and finding someone that actually loves what they're doing and cares about the results that they're delivering.
Mhm.
I think that's the real difference. And I think
Mhm.
that's why some people do okay and some people end up
Yeah.
really excelling. And
Mhm.
and all of that ends up going back into recurring revenue. Somebody can pay
Mhm.
you and they're like, you know what, I feel like, I'm doing all right. I have somebody that does the basics.
Mhm.
But as our experience grows and you talked about documenting things, once you start to know what you're looking at and you start to have
Yes.
more examples of it, you start to have conversations with other people. And someone may say, "Oh, well, I have a bookkeeper, but my bookkeeper just does this, this, and this."
Yes.
How about having a conversation with someone that is a client of yours and they say, "Well, we have conversations about this." That's when you
Mhm.
start realizing, okay, well, that may not be your job, but that's a blind spot that I had no idea that I should be looking at.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't having that conversation with you, I was leaving money on the table, or I was throwing it
Mhm.
out the window. You pick which
Yeah.
one resonates the most, but those are things that are happening every single day. And you
Yeah.
have to have those conversations, but you also have the discernment of who you should work with
Mhm.
that will allow you to be able to identify those things and then actually do something about it. Because some people can
Mhm.
point it out and they say, well, let me know when you figure out what you want to do about it. Cause that's not, that
Right.
part's not my job. So,
Right. Right.
you,
Yeah.
that's a different question.
Yeah. I just posted a
Oh,
video about my numbers look fine. My
mm,
accountant says my numbers are fine,
mm,
but yet inside there's this, like, uneasiness. Why? But you can't ask your accountant that said your numbers are fine.
no,
You can't ask them that question because that's not what they do. They compile a
yeah,
financial statement. You
yeah.
can't ask them that question, but you
Well, I
need
mean,
somebody you can ask that question to.
you can ask,
You can
but you
ask, you
should
may
take
not
note
get
of whether or not they
right,
answer and what that
right,
answer is.
and actually, they shouldn't be answering the question, they should ask you more questions
True, true. Very,
because
very true.
the accountant can't make the decision for you. You need to be comfortable with the answers that are already within you, and you just need a guide to guide you in the right
That part,
direction with your
that part,
answer.
that part right there, that part right there.